Hello, my name is Alan, and today I'm facilitating the first of a 5-session series of Fate of Umdaar. This is the playtest of Evil Hat's new Fate setting. Uses Fate condensed at its core, and we were keen to give it a run out. And my thanks to Alexei, because he prompted us to get this game on the Gauntlet calendar. Talking of which, the Gauntlet, this game has been organised as part of the Gauntlet community's online gaming calendar. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, please search Gauntlet-RPG and come find out about us. If you'd like to play with us, then you can find a way to join any of our games. Though it must be said, if you join our Patreon, then you will get priority access to those games. And the next opportunity to play with us in a kind of as a dip your toe in the water is in late September. I want to say September the 22nd to 25th, when we'll be running our next Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend, when we encourage people to come and try playing online and playing online with us to see whether our table culture, which is something we think is good, is something you'd like to be part of. So anyway, Fate of Umdaar. This is a game, and I'm just going to read some stuff from my CATS document. So Fate of Umdaar is set on the planet Umdaar. Hang on, I'm going to bring this over here so I can look at the camera while I read it. It is a world described in the playtest PDF document as a world of ancient science, swords, and sorcery. And in this particular iteration, we are dominating this world, this planet, with the world of wonders and dread, Felks, a continent on which all our play will take place in this series. Long ago, the Demiurge, and who the Demiurge were, is something for us to find out perhaps, seeded Felks with wonders, the purpose and function of which has long been forgotten, but their presence endures. To some, they are beacons leading the desperate to a member of the Freeland Alliance. The Freelands are the independent and, to some extent, inverted commas, good kingdoms and nations of the continent of Felks. To others, traps for the unwary traveller, while the Masters of Umdaar, these are the bad guys. These are the evil individuals who scour the land for resources, demiurge and otherwise, to serve their own selfish ends. And they are the threat in this game. So the Freeland Alliance, for hundreds of years, the communities of Felks worked and traded together. However, the Masters have discovered that the alliance is made stronger by these links and have sought to sever their connections, interrupt trade, and hinder communication. Their plan is to divide and conquer the Freeland communities, which will need to overcome the machinations of the Masters, as well as artificial and natural barriers, if they are to thrive. The question is whether our champions. Now, the players each will play a noble champion of Umdaar, using their strength of body, mind, and heart to thwart the Masters at every turn. Can they keep the people safe? Can they spark the fires of rebellion? Can they survive the dangerous wildlands to seek the forgotten knowledge that they crave to confront the Masters? Can they and their companions change the fate of Umdaar, planet of swords, super science, and sorcery? Now, there are several focuses for play presented in the playtest PDF. We are playing in the Dreadland focus, so we are going to be spending most of these sessions in the lands of the Dreadlords, the Masters, the bad guys, as rebels seeking to overthrow the Masters and protect those living under their yoke of oppression. Now, we've done some work in advance to flesh out the characters to an extent and to flesh out the world that we're going to be playing in. And now we have some champions. One of our champions will be arriving in the next 30 or 40 minutes, but 3 of our champions are on screen already. We'll agree how they are connected and all the other stuff that Fate does, and then we'll set off to play to find out. Now, in terms of tone, The rules describe the game as planetary romance and cites a range of media touchstones, not all of which I'll admit I'm familiar with. Some of the more recent ones I felt a bit too old to engage with. He-Man was the kind of thing that kids played when I was in my 20s. But we'll try to make sure the tone sits somewhere, I think, between John Carter, Conan, Star Wars spaceships, and those more recent touchstones such as He-Man, She-Ra, or Thundercats. I suppose I'm aiming somewhere between 1930 radio series and well-muscled and oiled barbarians with laser swords and artifacts that they need to declaim the name of to gain their power. We'll find out how that goes. The kind of tone that the rules suggest for the rebels of the Dreadlands focus is dystopian, man versus society, rage against the dying of the light, suspense, gritty, struggling to hold on, take the money, victory, and run. And the developers cite such examples of rebels as Robin Hood, Rogue One, Hunger Games, Firefly, and Leverage. We'll see whether we hit any of those. Because we're all grown-ups, it could well be that some potentially harsher adult themes are encountered, such as the ones, there are some in those games that I've suggested to you, some of in those touchstones. So we will be making sure to use a set of layered safety tools to make sure everyone stays comfortable. So my starting lines, which we won't see in the fiction, are sexual assault and violence and harm to children. The players have already had a go at adding some, so we also have lines on racism, homophobia, transphobia, harm to pets or domestic animals, cannibalism, and peril to pregnant women or infants. So those are things which won't crop up in the in play in the fiction. If any of the players want to add one to that list, please go ahead. I'll check in before we start playing. We'll also be playing with veils. Veils, while lines won't appear in the fiction, veils may appear, but we will draw a discrete curtain across the screen so we don't see the detail. And my starting veils are consensual sex and torture. And checking in, I'm seeing a veil on slavery and on suicide. Again, if the players want to add any of those veils, anything to those veils list or write some new ones in, please go ahead and we'll check in before we start play properly. Just to say that if anyone feels we're getting a bit close to one of those lines or wants to check in about one of those veils, then please don't hesitate to pause play and we'll make sure that we're comfortable. To help with that formalized, pausing play, we're also playing with the X card. The X card, the best way to play the X card for me is to show it to me or type it into the chat. I tend not to have my eyes on the chat all the time, so if any other player spots X card typed into the chat, please draw my attention to it. The X card is there to pause play and check in, or to rewind because something has made someone uncomfortable. I won't ask you why it's made you uncomfortable. All that matters is it did. And I may ask you how far back in the fiction you want me to rewind before we play forward and avoid it. And let me stress two things. One, I've had people play the X card because I created an NPC whose name was the same as their brother-in-law. And when the NPC began to do some bad things, they played the X card so we could rename that evil character away from their brother-in-law. And the other thing I want to say about the X card is just because the first time we encounter something, you think, oh yeah, I'm okay with that. And then later on you think, if it crops up again, actually I'm not. Just because you didn't play the X card the first time doesn't mean that you can't play the X card later on if you're feeling uncomfortable, right? There's not a once and for only use of. We're also playing with the open door. The open door is there for two reasons. One, if something happens in the world away from these screens and one of us has to go and deal with it, please go and deal with it. It would be good if you could give us a sense of whether you'll be back in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes. We'll play on and we'll reintegrate when you come back. If stuff happens, you can't come back, don't sweat it. We'll carry on and hope all is well with you. But equally, the open door is there. If this turns out not to be the game that anyone had hoped it was going to be, the open door is there to allow you to step away. Yeah, nobody wants to chain you to this to this screen for the next 2.5 hours in a game you're not enjoying. And the last thing I want to say about safety tools is that we are playing within the Gauntlet Code of Conduct. That community code of conduct, I think, is an excellent document. And you know, I sometimes summarize it as don't be a dick. Now, I've played with these players before, so I know that's not going to be an issue. But I do want to stress to anyone watching this that we are using a code of conduct to ensure that everyone has a good time. So that's my spiel done. I will finish by saying that my pronouns are he, him. And then let's introduce our players and their characters. Let me start. I'll go left to right on the character keeper because I lack imagination. Will, say hello, tell us your pronouns, and introduce us to Thorian.
Hi, my name is Will. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm playing Thorian, a martial artist, a warrior scholar of the Rad-folk, an energy beings who communicate via the radioactivity of your thoughts, and thus have a kind of philosophy of the energy moves through us. It binds us together, to quote from a different franchise. And yeah, Thorian that's it pretty much. He's pretty good-hearted, and I think he may well be the most, despite having a face like death and glowing with radioactivity, I think he is the most rapport and empathy among the group. So I'm imagining him as being visually, I've taken the free aspect of a champion of life with the face of death, just because I couldn't think of a pithy way of putting it, but to say that he is really all about, like, he's a bit of a do-gooder, basically, and a bit of a sort of empathy sort of person, but he does look like that. So you're unmuted, Alan.
Yeah, I am. Yes, I just wanted to check in on that I'm hoping to see him do some good things on the grounds that on first inspection, he scares the willies out of me. Yeah. So we'll see how that one plays. Okay. Then moving on along to, let me go to Brandon. Brandon, say hello, tell us your pronouns, and introduce us to Victory Through Perseverance.
Hello, my name's Brandon, he, and my character is Victory Through Perseverance. Although I got given the nickname Vicky by my charge when she was young, and it has stuck. The very formal name comes about because Victory is a Mutawarrior. She is a synthetic person specifically created to be part of an army backed by the Demiurge a very, very long time ago. She has spent much of the intervening time in suspended animation and was revived by the Gallowglass after a threat was made to the young princess, a kidnap or murder attempt. And they decided that she needed an incorruptible bodyguard and indeed companion, because being a princess can be a lonely life if you don't have any natural siblings. And so she has been, and watching her charge growing up. Her structure, her making was that of a scout. She was designed as a military reconnaissance expert, and in fact, she has her archetype in this system is that of a racer, meaning someone who pilots a vehicle or rides an animal. And her animal is a beast called a Zhevra, which is an obvious to anyone who has an eye for science, is an obvious synthetic hybrid of a horse mixed together with all sorts of vicious animals, and then released out into the wild to breed, either by accident or a purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I just because I don't have the Earl, but I do feel obliged to let people know what your Zhevra looks like, and that is some kind of exciting animal.
Yeah. Well, it's basically a horse with horns, sharp teeth, and clawed hooves. And it's well, most horses would run away from predators. Its natural reaction is to kill them, and they are considered untamable beasts. They're no. I mean, some people hunt them, but otherwise they're no good to anyone. But Victory was designed to handle vicious things like this, and so she has managed to tame one. Although she is careful not to let it get a free shot on her when her back is turned.
Yeah, I mean, can I just start to check in then, because I'm curious whether your Zevra was frozen, suspended at the same time that you were frozen and suspended.
Well, I don't know.
Have you spent lots of time together, or is this your mount since your current waking?
I was thinking it was my mount since my current waking. That basically I decided I needed a mount in order best to protect Zenobia and the princess, and so I went out and I got the most dangerous one I could get. Fine, and now we've been together for a number of years, and so I'm quite used to its vicious ways. It has been schooled by me in never making even the slightest move on the princess. It might bite me in a bad moment, but it will never touch her, because the one time it tried, I near to killed it.
Well, thank you for offering me that compel on the world aspect, all creatures strange and wild. I'll bear that one in mind.
Yes.
Thank you.
Its name is Biting Wind, but again, it has been dubbed Bitsy by a certain young girl, because of course she wasn't going to call it anything as so formal as that.
Great. Let me move along then to the to said princess. Alexi, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Princess Zenobia Galaglass.
Hello, so I am Alexi Sargent, he, him. You can follow all of my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games if you're so inclined. I am happy to be joining for Fate of Umdaar, and I am playing the character Princess Zenobia Galaglass. So she is the rebellious scion of a master. Motivation won't get fooled again. So her father is one of the Masters of Umdaar, these supervillain-like overlords that are part that are controlling parts of this world. Her father, Julian Gallowglass, is an immortal dictator who justifies his reign as the only thing that can bring stability out of chaos for the inhabitants of the Rusted Ridge, a kind of mountain range studded with broken down metal demiurge artifacts and buildings and whatnot. So she learned that her father was not the benevolent ruler that he presented himself as when she discovered within the last year or so that every month he consumes the soul of one of his subjects in order to maintain his immortality and his power. So she couldn't reconcile herself to that and ran away, and has been trying to fight back against the masters with kind of her newfound anti-master idealism, while also avoiding spies from her father who are surely interested in dragging her back to the Ascendant Castle. Anything else I should cover here?
No, because that's my question really. I mean, you have a high concept of rebellious scion of a master.
Yeah.
And the background, run away from the Ascendant Castle in the Rusted Ridge. Is there a bounty out on you? Or shall we play to find out?
I mean, there probably is, right?
Yeah.
Though, kind of as a player, I assume that Julian is interested in getting his daughter back to form into the perfect heir that he always wanted. But yeah, plausibly there are many people incentivized to aid him in that search.
At the mere cost of a fate point.
May I suggest? May I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
It feels very right that you ran away on your own, and my father sent me after you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I caught you, of course. And then
no
you
way I would outrun you on that mount.
Well, no, and I knew where you might run to. And you persuaded me that you couldn't return home, and faced me with the decision of basically of who do I betray, my orders or my charge, and I picked you.
I love that, and I love especially that means kind of it's not ideological for Vicky, right? That like for Vicky has this intense personal loyalty to Zenobia, but like it's kind of Zenobia's disillusionment that's driving them into conflict with the masters. It's not that Vicky has come around on, oh, definitely we need to bring down the system. It's more that Vicky's just focused on the fact that protecting Zenobia is her prime directive.
That is exactly right.
I love it.
Okay. I don't know if I notice you both have a free aspect. I don't know whether you want to think about how you make that explicit as an aspect, or whether you're just going to put it down in the notes so that you remember, because I might forget.
It's kind of bound into our relationship aspect, I feel.
Okay. So Sabine, thanks for getting here. I'm sorry to drag you away from a real world occasion.
Oh, well, it's not that bad. They will all get drunk, and I don't do that. So,
well, I must try to get you into a tavern quickly then.
Characters can get drunk all the time.
Characters can get drunk all the time, indeed so. So, Sabine, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Lars Gloomfall.
Okay, hi, my name is Sabine. I use any pronouns. I am renaming myself currently, so that's why I'm stalling. I am playing Lars Gloomfall. He is sort of, they call themselves Dragonfolk. They are a sort of reptile people, basically, is what he is. He is from Dustball, and his grandmother, very esteemed lady, not lady, but she's the Ingvi Goldclaw. She's the High Warden of the Pit of Pain, which is the infamous or famous, I don't know, prison that the place is making a lot of commerce with, because people bring prisoners here to be kept away because they are sinners and bad people. Of course, at least that's what Lars thought. That's what his grandmother told him. That's what all the wardens told them. They had to stand strong against these criminals, against these bad people. They were the thin, whatever the color of their uniform was, color line, against basically evil, right? So he believed that. And now Lars has some magical abilities. He used to do a lot of things with shadows. He loves shadows. He loves sneaking around. He's not a very honest person, to say the truth. But for all of that, he's been oddly naive and believed in this unity, right? And the good cause of keeping these people away from the other good people. His grandmother wouldn't hear about shadows. Shadows are not what is needed here. She pushed him to go towards something with a bit more gravity. So he thought, okay, gravity is fun. And he can also use gravity in his contraptions and spells and whatnot. But sneaking around, I think, and that's where you come in, Will, I think of how did we meet up? How did that go in do you have an idea, or should I just?
Well, I think that Thorian is traveling across Umdaar, looking to learn things outside of the glowing sands before he becomes more radioactive. And Lars is a very learned person, and is an elementalist to some extent, right? Like knows you have. So I think that we spoke and we consulted, and you studied me, like my form, and that's when you were like, oh my word, this would the energy signature of the Rad-folk could be used to power inert demiurge devices. How fascinating.
Yes,
Surely no
that is-
one will do anything wrong with this, because we're
No.
good people. We obey the law. And you've
Yeah.
not broken the law. And then,
No.
of course,
Yeah, and then I after I've talked to you and had these studious things, I told my grandmother, and she was like, "Oh, that's interesting, Lars. That's very interesting. Do you know where more of these rat folk can be found?" And I said, "Well, I think Thorian mentioned something about that ledge over there." And she was, "Oh, well, okay then. Bye. Have you done your gravity things?" And Lars trundled off and was happy with the world until he learned that his grandmother had captured these rat folk and had tried to make them into a battery, basically, for some artifacts.
yeah,
He
I'm
was-
imagining that like other Radfolk pilgrims, right, like
Oh, yeah.
being swept up, and the Thorian's, you know, a badass martial artist, right? So when they tried it with him, he got away. But others were not so lucky, and perhaps some dreadlord's eyes are now turned towards the glowing sands.
Oh, yeah, that's possible. Also, of course, I was a bit disenchanted with the whole unity, and because these people weren't criminals, they were pilgrims, right? But of course, my grandmother said, no, these are bad people. They didn't have passes, and they didn't pay taxes, and they didn't pay tolls, and they need to learn.
They broke the law that said, you know, the one that was introduced yesterday that said, don't be a radfolk.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Don't be a rat folk without having a license to be radioactive.
Yeah, what does it say on this charge sheet? I see here you've charged him with being radioactive.
Yes. Okay. Well, he didn't have a license for that, which is true, but the licenses were introduced yesterday. Anyway, Lars started to, well, look a bit closer at all these people in the prisons he had thought to be bad people, even though some of them didn't seem very dangerous or criminal or anything. And then he discovered that a lot of things that he has been like, this is weird. Oh, well, came together if you believe that these were actually not the bad people, that the wardens were the bad people. And then it all made sense, and he had a crisis of faith. And then I think he tried to rescue the rat folk. I don't know if that worked particularly well, but he tried, because he didn't at least this and or tried to get to Thorian. And
hey, I know, you know what, you warned me. Let's put it that way, right? Like, you owe me, you came to, that's when we hooked up, right? Is that you came to warn me, and then we did a badass, you know, you warned me and I fought off them off and blah, blah, blah. And that's when we became bonded together.
Yes, that is fine. Yeah, I tried to rescue your people, but they were already, well, how shall I put this? Used up. Yeah. And then I came to find you and warn you about the whole radioactive, don't be radioactive law thingy here, and how everybody was evil, and I didn't know what to do with myself anymore, and I was so sorry, and I had so much to make up to you and your people.
And I noticed that you've gone for the relationship. The Thorian's end of that relationship is, I do not judge Lars for his misplaced trust. Oh, so sad.
Yeah, I'm gonna be really sanctimonious, by the way, guys. Like, super pious the whole time. Like, you know.
So no, that seems great. So behind me is Dustball, which is the capital of the Dustball kingdom, and the Pit of Pain is about 2 days away from this city, but we are going to start play in this city, and we're going to start play with you telling me where we first see you on screen. But I am conscious it's 5 to the hour, or nearly 5 to the hour. I'm going to suggest we take our first break now when we start playing proper on the hour. So I will see you on the hour. So behind me is Dustball, capital of the Dustball kingdom, a desert kingdom somewhere near the middle south of the continent of Felks, I've decided. The Dustball kingdom is ruled by Blazinia, the magical princess, who maintains the kingdom's neutrality between the freelands and the masters by selling prison time at the Pit of Pain to anyone who needs some extraterritorial incarceration. And so we are going to begin, I think, play in a tavern in Dustball. So let me start by saying to Lars, you look like we've had some description of you as being slightly naive. You look quite young. Do you spend much time in taverns?
No, I don't think so. My grandmother wouldn't have liked that.
Exactly. And this is the grandmother that you have come to the tavern to tell Thorian, your friend, or at least the person that you've been exchanging scientific chit-chat with, to tell Thorian that your grandmother is coming? Or what just let's play out that scene, this meeting with Thorian where this debt arises.
Okay, I will. So Lars will come into the tavern, and then he will unwrap himself from the shadows he has cloaked himself in because, he's not supposed to be here. And if you're a shadow, if shadow is one of your elements, you use that, right? And then he will hesitate a little, like, no. And then he will rush up to Thorian and say, Thorian.
Thorian is engaged in a two arm wrestling competitions with two huge barbarian types. With a look of Zen.
I will use my gravity magic to just let you win because I need to talk to you right now.
And he will frown and bow to others and say, "A good game, unfairly won. I will see you for a rematch soon, my friends."
I apologize.
Lars.
I have to talk to you. Thorian, I made a terrible mistake. I didn't mean...
When you say mistake, the tavern door bursts open. Vicky, what do you do when the tavern door bursts open and a group of ne'er-do-wells burst in, looking around the tavern as if to say, where is he, she, or it?
I gently push Zenobia back with one hand as a short spiked mace flicks into the other hand. And I look for which piece of furniture would be most apropos to throw at them.
Probably the stool on which you are sitting.
So I'm going to take that up and ready to pitch it at their legs the moment they come.
Vicky, this doesn't have to be a fight. They could be looking for someone completely different.
That remains to be seen.
Zenobia, how are you going to determine whether they're here for you, sent by your father to take you home, or somebody else?
So I'm, tugging my hood down over my face slightly more, sinking back to avoid their attention, but also looking around the tavern myself to see if there's any clues about why these ruffians have turned up.
Okay, that sounds like empathy, ability to accurately judge someone's mood and intentions. So let's have the dice room is roll with me again because John has fixed it. I've put a red dice and a blue dice up.
All right.
So Zenobia, let's have you roll with empathy to see what conclusions you draw from their demeanor.
Is it possible that I that I might be actually investigating since I'm looking around the space to take in what's going on?
It would if you had a bit more time. Deliberate, careful study, puzzling out mysteries, piecing together clues, and reconstructing a crime scene. So if you want to spend the time, that's fine.
What if I'm just noticing, trying to spot trouble before it happens?
Okay, I'll let you go with notice.
All right.
I think this is against a difficulty of 3 because there's all kinds of reasons they could have burst into this tavern. So let's have the dice. So that is a 6 on the red, a 5 on the blue. Red.
Oh minus... no, I haven't rolled yet.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
4 on the blue, 1 on the red.
Okay, so that's -3 on the dice.
Okay, great. Great.
Plus notice, which is 1. So that gives you the -2. Is there anything that you could spend a fate point on, or is there a stunt that could help you out here? What do you think?
No, I don't think I've
I'd
got something here.
I'd like to offer a compel.
What would you like to compel?
Uh,
And to whom?
I would like to compel. Oh no, wait, I can't do that, right? Because he's already failed, so there's no point in doing that, right?
The way I like to think of as fail is that Zenobia says something like, I notice nothing except ...
Cool. Well, I would like to compel the runaway from the Ascendant Castle and the Rusted Ridge, and compel Zenobia to notice it, but they are coming this way.
Well, and which way is this way?
Towards them, because I'm imagining that Thorian and Lars are at a table behind Zenobia and Vicky, to lead to that kind of comical misunderstanding that sees Vicky throw that stool immediately.
Okay.
Cool. So the compel is for me to, whatever the truth of the situation, come to believe that yes, indeed, they're after me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because who else could be more important?
And what happens when you offer a compel? Like I have to spend a fate point to not take it, and I get a fate point if I go along with it.
What might be interesting is there is a tab called Fate Point Economy where I've tried to illustrate. So compel, change the narrative with a decision is what we're looking at. But for any compel, the target, i.e. Zenobia, can either immediately accept the complication and its consequences and immediately add a fate point to their pool, or immediately decline and spend a fate point to buy off the compel.
Okay, yeah. So 100%, I will take the compel, take the fate point, and say to Vicky, never mind, they're coming right towards us. Do your thing.
Okay, so add the fate point in. Vicky, what is your thing here?
My thing here is to pitch the stool at shin height against the people coming and charge them.
Okay,
while they're dealing with that obstruction.
So this sounds like create advantage.
Yes.
Yeah. So and it sounds like athletics to get this stool in the right place.
I was thinking physique, but okay.
Let's have a look. No, I'll give you physique. Yeah, I'll give you physique. Unless there's something else I can make life difficult with you. No, let's go with that. Let's go with physique. So I think the difficulty here is just 2. So roll the dice and add your physique.
Just select the dice and re-roll them.
So that's 5 on red.
We have a +3 is what we
have. +3 plus physique is 2. Versus my 2 is success by 3. So this is success with style. So again, if I refer you to doing stuff, create an advantage, create a new aspect in the scene, succeed with style, get 2 free invokes on the aspect you created, and say what you do next. And then, are you going to close with them, Vicky? Is that what I'm?
Oh yes.
Okay.
And yeah, the aspect I'd like to create is on them is disorganized.
Okay, fine. So they are disorganized, and
they've been one of them has fallen down, one of them's been knocked up against some other patrons,
well,
or
we can
whatever you may choose to do it. But
we can flesh out what disorganized looks like when push comes to shove. But Thorian, Lars has warned you someone's coming to get you. Someone has burst into the tavern and got across the threshold and into the middle of the common room, and then somebody over there throws a stool at them, and there's they are disorganized by this. What do you do, Thorian?
We've been chatting in the thing, and Lars has just announced to Thorian that the pilgrims, they're all dead, and then just as bang, crash, and I think you see Thorian just vaults over the table and goes sprinting at these people, because he's betrayed suddenly everything he thought he knew about the people of Dustball has suddenly changed here.
So I think this is going to be a question of athletics as to which of you gets there first. So Thorian, do you want to roll the dice with athletics?
This looks like it's going to be one of those servers that disconnects me every few minutes. So I apologize if there's ever a slow dice roll, but that is a +4 on athletics. That's 7, I think.
It's +2 with your athletics and 6, right?
The dice is 2, +3 -1, yeah. And athletics is 4, so that is a 6. Vicky, would you like to roll with athletics?
Sure.
Just to see which one of you gets there first?
I know the answer to this question.
Yes,
so I got a 0. So
yeah. So Thorian, I think this is success with style. So you overcome the race to get there, and you arrive with a boost doing it. So you have a boost anyway, and there is this disorganized aspect in play. So what do you do when you arrive, Thorian?
I think that I arrive literally, just before Vicky, and I think that the boost is that as Vicky's about to lamp somebody, Thorian, a flash, with a flash of wild energy cascading off him, just one punch, that inch punch kind of style, wata kind of thing, through.
So let us have you roll with fight then.
With fight, I invoke it for free. I think that boost, because I think that guy was not expecting it either.
Well, you're going to get, if you can use that boost straight away, that'll give you +2 on the dice roll.
Oh, but I don't need. I can roll the dice and then invoke it, right?
Yeah, if you want, if you need it.
I don't need it.
+3 plus fight is how many?
6 total.
6. Their best offer on that is 3, so that's success with style. And there are a group of about 5 of them. Did you go for the one that was at the front, or did you come at them from the side? It sounded a bit like from the side, in as much as Vicky was, their attention was on Vicky.
Yeah. I think it was the side. I think if what I've just described is right, it was at the side of the front. You know what I mean? It wasn't I came in from the pack at the side. I came in just to the right of the guy that Vicky was about to lamp, basically.
Fine. So they're going to take that as 3 harm, 3 stress applied to this group. Or do you want to convert one of those into a boost because you succeeded with style?
So I can do more damage with the boost?
No, you could do less damage now, but have a boost sitting in your back pocket.
See. No, I think I'll keep hold of my boost from the last one, and I will leave the damage as it stands.
Okay. So they are still, their focus, their attention is still on Vicky. 3 of them go down like 9 pins. Bang, bang, bang. You just go through them like a dose of salts. And Vicky, that's what you see when you arrive. But I do just want to ask Lars what Lars is doing as it all goes a bit chaotic.
Since Lars believes that they are after him, I think he will try to impede them a little, because, I mean, the gravity worked on this barbarian, didn't it? So I will use some gravity magic to keep their feet a little nailed to the ground as much as I can.
Okay, so is this go on, you describe how this
it's a create an advantage.
Fine.
I want to create an aspect that the others can use.
So let's have you do that, and this is with crafts, isn't it? Because crafts is how you shape gravity and shadow. So let's have you roll with crafts.
Is it crafts? Yeah, it's crafts. Yeah. Okay, I'm rolling with crafts. I'm using these 2 dice. See how that goes. Oh wow, it goes terribly. I've got a -4. Can I use a fate point to re-roll this in your system?
You can.
I will.
You can.
I will. I mean, I will use a fate point to invoke my Remorseful Dragonfolk Runesmith. I'm a runesmith. Hey, I can do better than that. Hopefully.
You can't do worse. Let's face it. Well, you could. I suppose.
I could. Don't jinx it, Alan. No, it's a +1 now. Then I'm at 5. So
that's +5.
Mhm.
That will give you. I think that the only difficulty here is affecting them and not Thorian.
Yeah.
So it's targeting it. So I'm going to make the
Yep.
difficulty just 2.
Mhm.
So that will give you success with style,
Nice.
which will allow you to create the advantage that you wanted, and with 2 free invokes. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah, do we
I will.
have an aspects tab or something like that?
No, I usually just put it in the chat, to be honest.
Okay. So they have they're dragging their feet.
Exactly.
Like really.
Yeah. And I will just ask the princess what she's doing as this all kicks off.
A lot has happened very quickly. So
where this energy guy came from, what's he got to do with this is an open question, Zenobia.
What do the people attacking us look like? Just so I can get this picture in my head.
Okay, let's try investigate, shall we? Because I think you've had a moment to kind of just cast your eye over this. So let's try investigate and see what I can tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, because basically, in the heat of the moment, I thought, oh no, they're coming for me. And that's all I could think. And now I'm trying to actually understand what is really going on in this situation. Looking at the folks attacking, the other folks attacking them back, and trying to piece together a coherent theory in my head. Red is the good one?
Red is the good one. Okay.
That's a +3 total then.
My difficulty, I should have told you, was 2, because it is just sorting out there's the energy guy and
who's on which side.
Exactly. Is this a case of the enemy of my enemy is my friend? And I think that I can tell you that they are not interested in you, because there is somebody in the table, the booth next to you, heading for the back door.
I see. It's false alarm.
Well, they don't look like they're in your father's livery.
He does like his liveries.
He's a very smart dresser.
Right.
So it doesn't look like they're in his livery. And out the corner of your eye, you can see this nondescript individual slipping away through the rear of the tavern. I'll let you contemplate that for a moment, because Vicky, of course, is already in motion. Vicky, there are 2 or 3 of these guys left who weren't skittled by this blur. So Vicky, I think you were pretty confident you were going to mace them out. So let's have you roll to fight, please. Of the one left, they're not bad at this. So your difficulty here is 3.
Okay. I rolled a -1. My fight's a 3, so that's a 2.
Oh, right. So that's 2.
But there's a bunch of
3.
There's a bunch of free compels sitting around.
There are. Just to be clear, there are some
free invokes. Free invokes. Excuse me, not compels. Sorry, don't mean to tread on the terminology. I have the disorganized I created, and one of them is, and some of them are moving oddly slowly.
They are
for reasons I will parse out later.
Well, I mean, I technically that advantage belongs to Lars.
Oh, okay.
So I need to ask Lars.
You may use it. Go and hit them, please.
So you've got those two invokes on one invoke on each of those aspects gives you an extra 4. So what does that do to your outcome?
So that extra 4 gives me a 5.
5 versus the 3 is success by 2. You inflict 2 stress on the chap who was leading them. That is not enough to take him out.
You can use more than one of the 3 invokes, actually.
Say it again.
You can use more than one of the 3 invokes. You can use 2 or.
Yes, you could. You could bounce it out. I just wondered if you wanted to kind of sit on them for a while.
No, I'll use both disorganized then.
Fine.
I'll leave the one.
He goes down in a heap. What does that look like? Because you exceed his stress track with some ease. Describe what we see. with
kind
the
of what kind of
mace.
what kind of weapon does he have?
I think he's probably using a club.
Okay. I swing the mace at him, and he blocks with his club, and with my left hand, I give him an uppercut that you can hear it in the next room over. It just his Vicky is extraordinarily strong.
Okay.
And she fainted with the main weapon and used her bare fist on it, but down he goes.
Okay, he's down in a heap. There are 2 or 3 of his minions who are still kind of in play. But Zenobia, I do want to ask you what you do.
Oh, I chase after the person who's running.
Of course you do.
I want to get to the bottom of this. Seems like Vicky and her new radiation friend have these ruffians well in hand. I want to know what they were so interested in this tavern if it wasn't me.
Okay, then I think that let's have you chase this person with athletics.
Great. Well, I got 0 athletics, so we'll see how this goes.
Okay, well, on the upside, he only has 1 athletics. So by all means, chase him. Let's see if you can get better than that +1.
You know what? I am a princess. I have the best that money can buy. So I am going to pull out an expensive device from my bag and describe how that helps me with an action or skill. And I think it's as simple as just activating the limited use rocket boosts on the bottom of my boot here to just chase him down. Yeah, chase this individual down.
And that allows you to use resources rather than athletics for the action for that action for the rest of the scene. So anything with athletics that involves your rocket boots is going to be using +4 resources. So let's have you roll the dice.
Okay, the dice 0 out, but I've got +4 resources here.
That is success with style. So you are going to get there. In terms of overcome, succeed, achieve your goal, say what you do next, and get a boost doing it.
Yeah. So catch up to this person and say, "Hey, what's the rush?"
Is this rapport or deceive, or are you trying to get on their right side with a bit of empathy? I'm curious.
Yeah, I think if it's going to be a role, it's probably rapport, because I'm turning up with genuine curiosity and and a bit of that like used to being obeyed tone, right? But she's not upset. She's just intensely curious about everything going on. She's like, looks to me like you're running away. Got some experience of that myself, but I'm curious, what has you fleeing so fast from this fine establishment?
Let's have you roll with rapport to see whether you can establish a working relationship with this individual.
Cool. And was there a bonus from the previous success with style? Was I tracking that
there
right?
was a boost, so you get +2 because he is impressed. That you coast past him with the rocket boots.
Nice. Nice.
I'd
interpose myself between the
lean against the wall and
and the door. Absolutely. Cool. So rolling the dice. I got a 1 and a 1 again, if I'm reading that correctly.
You are. So that's 0 on the dice, +2 for the boost.
+1 rapport.
+1 rapport. So you've got 3 versus his 1, which is his 1 deceive. Because he does not want to have anything to do with you really, but you succeed. And he says, they're after me.
I gathered that, but who are they and why are they so interested in you?
Because of what I know. Protect me, help me. You look like you have money. Help me. It's valuable information.
All right. You'll enlighten us if we can be of assistance to you.
Yes. Just don't let them take me. They'll take me to the pit. And we cut back inside, where I think Thorian, you've seen Vicky kind of uppercut one of these guys over your shoulder, kind of thing.
Well, we got to enter the back-to-back kind of fighting stance, right? As some of them pick themselves up off the floor, right, like groaning and whatever. And now we're in the classic sort of warriors.
Well,
of
do you know
opportunity.
what? I haven't spent a fate point yet, and it just seems to me it's time. So I'm going to spend a fate point to compel. There are traitors everywhere. And what you notice, Lars, Vicky, and Thorian, is that this is a rougher tavern than you thought. And the various ruffians, including the 2 barbarians that you really should not have won against, are standing up, loosening their axes, picking up stools and chairs, and they're all looking at you two.
Can I say that the bartender, right, like, is by the door and lowers the lock, kind of, you know, like the bar across the door sort of thing, and then like a big sort of like.
So that's my compel, Thorian.
Okay.
Do you want to buy it off, or do you want to go with it?
God no, go with it.
Okay, then
I
add
go-
a fate point. Add a fate point before you do anything else.
Yeah.
Lest
Do
you
we all have a
forget.
fate point because everybody else is stuck in this, or is it just me?
No, I compelled you because you.
Yeah,
you
no, I
want-
know. I'm just asking in terms of fate, you know, rather than arguing for
It
anything
is.
else.
It is you.
Yeah.
So what do you do, Thorian, when this happens? You find yourself back to back with Vicky. Vicky, what do you say to this strange guy who's watching your back now?
Well, I say you fight well.
I've never seen anyone so fast. But I think we need to get out of here.
Lars.
There is a way through them.
There certainly is, says Vicky, and she puts 2 fingers to her mouth and whistles.
Lars, just by the by, of course, the attention is on the fight in the middle of the barroom, not on you.
Okay.
So you could slip out the back way, or you can stay and see what happens.
I don't guess. No, I can't leave Thorian. I mean, I've done enough. Thank you.
And you've still got an invoke on that gravity, haven't you?
I still got to invoke on that gravity, and I will compel my remorseful because I'm staying here and I'm joining the fight because.
Oh, join the fight!
Of course.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
wonderful.
I mean, no, I can't leave Thorian. He's my not my friend, but I've got to join the fight.
I mean, I'm imagining Vicky is quite a well set up young woman, tall, humanoid female, and Thorian doesn't look like a weedy guy either.
Oh, I imagine Thorian is like this lanky sort of like wrapped in robes and kind of, but like clearly, you know, has just kicked the shit out of a few
And so I'm seeing the
Plus
camera.
there's the skull face, like the glowing skull face thing going on.
I'm seeing the camera catch that exchange between Vicky and Thorian, and then kind of pan down to where Lars is back to back with the pair of you. So you are forming the 3 corners of a triangle.
It's not quite what I'm doing.
Well, the compel, join the fight.
Yeah, I join the fight, but I will wrap myself in shadows because because I have a stunt, right? And it's a frightening images. I can use deceive to make long-range mental attacks. The target's defend with will, and this only works against targets that experience fear. But what I'm doing here is I will wrap myself in shadows so that I appear a lot more threatening. I mean, that's
just to be clear, I want the compel is for you to be in the thick of it.
I will be in the thick of it, but I will try to frighten them off. I don't go into the thick of it to fight with my fists. I have no idea how to do that.
Okay.
Can I suggest that you know, the way that you get into the thick of it, right, is it our shadows and then they merge, and then there's you in whatever sort of form they are right in next to us, right?
Yeah.
Well then, let's resolve this as a collective action. Yeah, this is teamwork in play, I think. So, Vicky, you have whistled. I think I know what you're going with, but do tell. What are you seeking to trigger if this was a PBTA game?
No, what am I seeking to trigger? Is one of those doors that they have closed, the back door that they have closed to keep us in, gives an enormous crash as to hooves splinter it from the backside.
Okay.
And this and this, half horse, half monster sticks its massive head inside the door, and gives a screeching bellow.
Okay, this sounds like access to material things to call Zhevra. So let's have you roll with resources. I'm going to make this simple. I'm going to make this a simple difficulty of 1.
Okay, well, I don't have resources. I mean,
Well, that might be why I'm going with a difficulty of 1.
the Zhevra is kind of an extension of my character, but however you want to do it.
Because you can, of course, invoke the watchful Mutawarrior Zhevra Rider to make it better anytime you like.
Of course.
Ah,
Well, I got +2.
there you go. So you succeed. You have created the advantage. I think rather than the door, can we have her kick in the window?
Sure, absolutely.
Because I think that would give us, a bit more variation in the scene. So now create the advantage, access through a window. Yeah?
Yeah.
That is an aspect, a situation aspect that is now in play. The window is kicked open. Thorian, what do you do?
I would love to do this team action where the 3 of us clear some space.
I think getting out of here is about athletics.
Yeah.
So I think it is about Thorian leading with the others following on.
Oh yeah,
using
it's like
any of the advantages.
like stick with me. Like
See,
yeah, nimbly go, and then like the ones that if I don't know how the group actions work, but are we doing this as a role for the group, right?
yeah,
Like,
so let me explain that the way this works is that you will be rolling +4.
Mhm.
You will get +1 for either of the other 2 or both of the other 2 if they have athletics at 1 or more. So Vicky, I think, is going to add athletics to this. The most you can add is your athletics. So if you had 4 of you, you get all 4. So
Okay.
you are rolling with +5, Thorian, because Vicky's athletics supports your effort.
Okay.
I think the difficulty here is quite tough because this is a crowd of dangerous folks. So I'm going to make the difficulty 4.
Okay. I have a bunch of invokes on the table.
Of course you
which,
have.
Yeah.
Of course you have.
And that is a 6 and a 6 in the dice, so it's neutral. They got
It
a
is.
4, and I have a 5, so it's a
So
1
you've
at the moment.
succeeded already.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to push this to success with style, or do you want to just get out the window?
Let's push it to success with style. Why not? And use, I think, probably because the situation will change and invoke disorganized. Or
Yeah, because
Well, you may.
I'll be honest with you. Look, those advantages are going to evaporate once you leave the
that's what I
the
thought.
tavern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever you use.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are.
I invoke all 3 of them.
Everything.
Why not? Right. So
Everything.
they can all. Yeah.
So yeah, that gets you to success with style. You succeed. You have a boost on the other side of the window. But I'm curious. So Thorian leads the way. Lars, you're the person who has the least athletics here, though you do have your shadowy form, I suppose, making you a little bit tricky to spot. What do we see, Lars? How does Lars end up getting out of that window, and who holds the fort while you do?
I actually wanted to use the frightening images to make the long range mental attack.
Oh, right, okay.
Because I mean that's what I got stung for, right?
Okay. Yeah, fine. Go ahead. May use deceive to make long range mental attacks. The targets defend with will. Will here is 1. I'm going to make it 2 for strength in numbers. So go ahead.
Okay. Got a deceive of 3. It's -3 on the roll, which I don't like, which I will then promptly re-roll again.
Spend a fate point, re-roll. Use the runesmith.
Yes, I'm a runesmith, and I can do better than that.
And we can have.
No, I cannot do better than that.
But-
Ouch.
Disorganized, because I could have used any of those aspects for my role. So
You
like
could have.
disorganized could still be on the table as a free.
Disorganized is still on the table.
Yeah, disorganized. So I'm
So-
at -3. So I'm at 0. So I'm at 2. I need one more aspect. Please, can I use the dragging feet?
Can you use the witch? Oh, the gravity. Yes, you can.
Okay, then I
So-
will do that. So I'm at 4. So I'm still made it.
It's a bit sketchy,
Mhm,
but you get there.
mhm,
I'm seeing barbarians kind of reaching for the wrong bit of shadow,
mhm.
or you know, they're going to leap at you, and then their feet are attached to the ground. Vicky, what do we see you doing to just make sure
This
that
is an
everyone is
attack,
safe?
Ellen. This is an attack. Just saying, they take
Yeah.
damage from that.
I'll be honest
Just
with
saying.
you, they're not. Once you're out the tavern,
I know.
Vicky, how do we see you?
The you know, I'll block for Lars if necessary, but then I'm out and almost in the same motion, hop from the windowsill onto the back of Biting Wind, and then look around for the princess, because she's beating up these people is completely secondary to my primary objective.
Exactly, Zenobia. You went out the back door, and you know, you've been having this conversation with I gave her a name, Witcha.
Oh,
And
nice. I
Witcha,
was about to ask about that name.
Witcha is kind of looks over your shoulder as a window is kicked in by an enormous horned horse, and 3 people leap out, including Vicky.
Don't worry. Bitsy's with us.
He'll believe you at this point. I'm tempted to screen wipe Zenobia to where do we next see you all with Witcha?
Ooh. We were in a tavern in Dustball. Okay. And you know, it turned out to be full of people who were ready to attack me and my, you know, friends and new situational allies at the drop of a hat.
It's that kind of place sometimes, you know.
I think maybe we want to be a little less in the public eye then. And I'll, if it's all right, say direct us to like a craggy bluff outside of the town, where we can have a sit and confab.
Fine. Cut to a rocky bluff outside the town, where could well be that rocky bluff. And there's Witcher. There's all 4 of you. Lars, what's your kind of reaction to victory through perseverance and the princess? What's your immediate kind of take on them?
I don't know these people. Who are they? I mean, okay, they seem the big one seems scary. The other one seems nice.
I'm curious.
I'm just follow. I'm at this point. I'm just tagging along and doing whatever Thorian thinks is right.
Just in case Granny Ingvi comes after you. Zenobia, what are you saying to Thorian and Lars about who you are?
I will tell them that, you know, based on their reaction to those hoodlums smashing into the tavern, they're clearly also not on the best terms with the masters who control this domain, and you know, that we can sympathize. This is Vicky. You can call me Z. I found their real target, and he said he can fill us in about what's going on. And I don't know about you, but I am intensely curious.
Thorian, what's your take on victory through perseverance and Z?
I think Thorian, you know, learns that these were not the people after him, and that these allies that they were after this Witcha, and he shakes his head and says, Truly the people of Dustball are not what I believe them to be. So many in danger, in need. And I'm able to recognize Zenobia, this runaway from the Ascendant Castle with her warrior woman companion, who, when my travels through the Rusted Ridge, skirting, people would talk about how they were out there. Is that a thing?
I mean, I'm interested in that. I think I'm wondering whether investigate is the best way to come at
A law?
yeah,
law-
law. Let's.
Oh, that's ancient knowledge, though, isn't it?
It's more
knowledge, you're right.
ancient. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
you're
it
right.
is.
Yeah, I think maybe investigate is a role for that then.
Go on.
Victory is distinctive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know.
Muta warriors are not thick on the ground.
It's good I have you with me, but you definitely don't aid in me having any sort of cover.
Well, that is only a 4. On no,
well,
2 minus 2 on investigate, minus 1 on investigate. Sorry.
This would be against Z's deceive.
Yes, my deceive is +3.
Okay. So currently at 4.
But I'm going to reduce that deceive by 1 because, as you say, Vicky is rather distinctive and has 0 deceive.
Okay, so that puts me at 2 right now. So
you have a -1 if you could have that.
I can invoke an aspect to use it by using a fate point, correct?
You can.
Right?
Which aspect? And do talk to us.
I would like to invoke the aspect, run away from the Ascendant Castle and the Rusted Ridge. As an aspect, right? I can do that. Is that correct? Yeah.
I think you can.
Yeah. Which then puts me at a flat 0, right?
Yeah. Now, actually, that's a hostile invoke of Z's aspect. So you are going to give Z a fate point.
That's what I was about to ask about the fate point economy there. Cool.
But that gets you into positive country. And what do you say, Thorian?
I say I bow slightly and I say, Princess.
Am I really that unsubtle?
Thorian looks at Vicky.
It's not you, Princess.
Well, I think.
Sorry to say.
Well, you are correct, though, Princess. We are all. Someone is hunting all of us, except, of course, for you, Lars. Thank you for putting yourself in this position for me.
Yeah, I might have been a bit conspicuous when leaving the pit. I was a bit. I thought I was rescuing them, and they might have noticed that I think they might be after me as well. I don't think my grandmother is too happy with me right now.
Well,
it's brave to turn upon your people.
I think it's reasonable to suppose that Granny Ingvi is going to wonder why Lars isn't at home doing his elemental homework.
I think he broke a lot of the contraptions he set up in the pit of pain by way of getting out, so that she knows something's up.
Oh, that must have been like, you know, that initial sort of like blur of words, like flurry of words as you were explaining. I broke my contract. I'm not going back to the castle, but they took your then like, but they took the Radfolk pilgrim Thorian kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think Thorian, I think at that point we'll look around and say, well, we all know why they are hunting us, except for you, friend, and look to Wichita.
Who's kind of been, you know, Wichita looks like he's wondering whether he could make it past that boulder without anybody noticing while you have this conversation.
He's one step away when I turned and said it to him.
Yeah, well, yeah, except that Victory is looking dead at him. Because
clearly,
she is, yeah, it's like Victory gives Zenobia a look that says, I don't trust any of these people, even if some of them did help you. Yet.
I'm not going to make you roll for this. I think, you know, Wichita is in your debt. But clearly Wichita would much prefer not to be in your debt and to be anywhere but here, and maybe to be selling what he knows for a profit rather than just, you know, looking at you four and thinking, oh, I got no option but to spill. And what Witcha tells you is that the reason that those thugs were after him was that the Cudgel Lord of the North has put a bounty on his head. And the Cudgel Lord is, the reason he's put a bounty on his head is that the Cudgel Lord believes that Witcha knows where the hammer of the Beasts of Umdaar lies.
Oh. Can I roll lore to know
You
something
can
about
roll
that?
lore to see what you know about the hammer of the Beasts of Umdaar.
That seems like something I could roll for.
I think it's pretty obscure, this, so I'm going to make the difficulty 3.
Okay. Yes, I've got a 5.
5, so success. This is a demiurge artifact, Lars, that is said to be able to crack any other weapon.
I will say, wow, that is yeah, that's the thing.
Perhaps this would be all energy simply changes. It is never destroyed. Perhaps my people, if we could destroy the artifacts, they could be saved.
Yes, you might be right. If we can crack them with the if we have the hammer, which we don't, we could crack the artifacts and maybe yes, maybe rescue your people after all. That would be good. Yes.
Witcha.
Destroy a demiurge artifact? It says
Hang on.
victory.
Let me go to
in
Zenobia.
horror.
Let me go to Zenobia first. Which time? I think you started.
You say the Cudgel Lord placed this bounty on your head because he believes you know the location of the hammer. Is his belief correct?
Well, says Witcha, kinda.
So you could lead us to the hammer.
Well, I know who last had it.
That's a start.
Aquata the Necroid.
Is that a name we recognize?
Would anybody? Yeah, let me think. Who might
we have
recognize this?
2 of us have context too.
Yeah,
So we know a lot of people.
Let's. Who's got the most contacts? Let's see. Yeah, I think let's have you 2 work as a pair here.
Okay.
Let's run this as teamwork. So Zenobia, let's have you roll. No, I'm going to go with Vicky because Vicky knows stuff from times before. So Vicky, let's have you roll with contacts. You get an extra 1 because Z might be able to help you. Has anybody else got any contacts to throw at this in terms of people you might know? No? Okay, so you're rolling with a total of 3. Again, this is pretty obscure, Vicky, so difficulty is 3.
And I got a 5.
My
altogether.
contacts are, the fact I was a princess, and I'm sure my father socialized with other masters, and they chatted about demiurge artifacts and the people who had them that they wanted to take them from, and all that jazz.
Okay, so
I imagine that mine are, that before you ever were allowed to go anywhere, I had to go there first and establish where you would be staying and who were the important people there and things like that, so as to make sure that it was safe before you were allowed to travel.
So Z, I think I can tell you that Aquata the Necroid was the former lady of the Icequake Tundra. And she held a domain there, a kingdom, a collection, a settlement, some possession on the Icequake Tundra before it was taken by the Cudgel Lord. Yeah, so the Cudgel Lord now holds the Icequake Tundra. Aquata was a previous ruler there. And what I can tell you is that the last you heard of Aquata was that she'd escaped the icequake tundra, but been captured and sent to the pit of pain.
That's a coincidence.
Well, it's the kind of stuff that happens in these kind of stories.
I know that. It doesn't stop Victory from being suspicious.
So, Lars, a quarter the Necroid.
Yeah.
Does that ring any bells?
I mean, we have a section for necroids, sure. I mean, okay.
The necroid cell block.
There is a section for necroids. There are certain precautions you have to take, certain stuff you have to feed them. And now I'm thinking about that. Okay, I'm not thinking about that. Anyway, yeah, I don't know if an Aquata was there, but I know that there was there was someone who would make the place pretty cold, which would naturally keep me away because I don't much like the cold. I'm not very well made for cold places. Yeah.
I think you remember your grandmother talking about an inmate.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, she seems nice. Maybe? No? Okay. Anyway, I didn't meet her. I did not. I did some of the security things there to ensure that they wouldn't get out. And I have smashed some of my security, but not all of that.
So we are 3 minutes to the hour. I'm going to suggest we take our second break here.
Yeah.
And we come back at 5 past the hour with a screen wipe to somewhere else. Go. Okay, we're back. Unless somebody tells me not to do it, I'm going to screen wipe to the desert wastes near the Pit of Pain. Yeah.
I think that's right. Since my sense is that we're probably going to have to break into the Pit of Pain to interrogate Aquitar about where the hammer has gotten to. Does that strike everyone as, a correct prediction of our character's next course of events, next, course of action?
I was trying to get out of there, but sure.
Yes.
I mean, I was going to say clearly the last scene we have to go back to the Pit of Pain, and we looked over at Lars, right, who gulps as the camera goes to black.
To give you some idea of how I envisage this, I'm seeing a rocky desert landscape. Maybe there are some, there's some bluffs overlooking this from where you're looking down on it, and it is a chasm going down into the desert wastes, and I'm again imagining kind of slightly Heath Robinson wooden structures that lower people down into the depths of the pit. Lars, do you want to add something to that description or correct it for me? Because you've been there.
I think there is a very fancy, there are elevators kind of things, and there are very rickety ones, and they sometimes fall, they're for the prisoners. Not the guards. The guards have a sturdy one, and then there's the luxury one. That's for my grandmother and her guests.
And I'm just curious about your grandmother. Does, by any chance, the luxury elevator run on gravity?
Of course, they all run on gravity, but gravity is my thing. Her elements are gold and fire.
Okay.
So I made this elevator actually for her.
Okay. Oh, so right. Okay. So this is a gravity elevator, and she works on other elements. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, all elevators run on gravity. This one just does it both ways.
Exactly. This one just doesn't need anything else. Yeah.
The other ones just use it for down. You just use gravity for down, and prisoners for up. But this one uses magic. It can also use prisoners, of course, but.
So what I'm kind of imagining here is a set of challenges that are going to face you. to get to a quarter. Yeah. And clearly the first one is to get into the pit. So Lars, I'm going to come to you again. What do you think is the least difficult way to get in there?
Least difficult way in there would probably be to look for one of the crevasses and just rappel down if you have to, if you have a rope or something, or maybe I can try to lower all of you very gently to the ground, but it takes some kind of strength. But I could do it. And I can, but I can't do both gravity and the shadows that would hide our entrance. So maybe we'll have to climb. You'll have to climb. I'm not good at climbing.
Climbing is athletics, just so you know.
Yes, that's why I said that. Brandon, you were going to say something.
Yeah, we have a horse that's good at climbing.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vicky.
Are these are they just kept in pits, or are there cells down there as well?
There are cells and blocks, and cell blocks, depends really. Some of them just are intense, that they are the ones that operate the elevators. There are lots of people on.
We've all seen the third Christopher Nolan Batman movie, right? The Dark Knight Rises or whatever. I'm imagining the pit, kind of imagining like the fantasy version of the pit that Bane. And, you know what I mean? Like, you were born in the dark, Batman, kind of thing. But like super deserts and fantasy, high fantasy.
I have added Petal, the guardian of the Necroid wing of the Pit of Pain, to the Faces and Places tab.
I have some ability to get through locked doors.
Burglary, knowledge of and ability to bypass security systems, pickpockets, and generally commit crimes. I suppose the other one no one suggested yet is that someone goes in as a prisoner. But I just put that out there.
But that would involve deception.
I'm good at deceiving people.
Yes, I know that.
And Lars, you worked here, yes? Well.
Yeah, I did.
It is unlikely that all of the guards here know of your recent behavior as yet.
It's true. I could try to throw my weight around. Yeah, I could. Yeah, sure. They'll believe me, probably.
Well, it is either the cliff.
Okay, I'll talk my way in. I mean, I could talk my way in any way because I don't need to be seen. I can do shadows as well, but I can hide us if we need that. But
we'll keep.
So is one of us going to be prisoner, or allegedly a prisoner?
Perhaps two of us will be prisoners. One Lars. Well, who's going to do the talking? Because I don't see how Lars can lie away past kept wreathed in shadow, you know?
I can lie my way past anything.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You.
Yeah. No, I know, but then you said you were going to be wreathed in shadow, so I wasn't sure how a voice from the darkness would get us in.
If I get into pretending, if I get in on the strength of my grandmother, then I need to not be wreathed in shadow. That wouldn't make any sense.
So I was thinking, if Lars is the face in this con, and Vicky is the bounty hunter who helped bring in these two fugitives, Zenobia and Thorian.
Yeah.
Oh, great! I get to be a prisoner.
Well, you're good at selling it.
Thanks.
Because we do know that there is a general local bounty on Rad-folk.
Yeah.
And we also know that the Princess Zenobia is hunted. So maybe.
I mean,
Vicky
just as a proposal
lucky.
to have us all in through a deception means rather than an infiltration, if everyone's good with that. Or we can climb down.
I'm gonna put out there, we go in with the pretend to be prisoners gambit, but we have the sorry, is it called the Zevra, the horse guy? Yeah, yes. we have the Zebra like primed to be our getaway car using run up the the ravine plan. Yeah, Brandon, sound
Yes,
good?
absolutely. Oh, yes. No, that's the thing's never out of earshot. As
So I'm going to screen wipe, I think.
I have
to-
one loose end I want to
go
tie up,
on.
Alan.
Go on.
I just want to like have a quick, itsy bitsy little chat with our friend Witcha before we go in.
Fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm happy. Let's flash back to the bluff because Witcher needs to get out of dodge.
Oh yeah.
So by all means.
Yeah, I'll say thank you so much for providing this intelligence. We are happy we could help you elude your own pursuers. May the suns bless you on your way. And then I like lean in close. And if you try to sell us out, my daggers will find you wherever you are, because I have whispered your name to them, and they will fly through the air till they reach your heart.
I think that is provoke.
No, it's deceive, because this isn't a thing I can actually do.
Sorry, I thought you were going to invoke folklore as a means of control.
Folklore as a means of control is great too. Like that, I could do that with a deceive, right?
Okay, let's yeah, I'll fly with that this time round. So I think we know that Witcher is weak-willed and cowardly. So I think his will is 1.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's have you roll a dice and add deceive to actually cause stress to this guy, right? let's see if you can actually do him some harm here. Go ahead.
I don't want him to drop catatonic with stress or
No,
anything.
but you could leave him with a consequence or a condition that says stumm.
Too afraid to betray these guys. Okay, that's a 1 on the dice plus 3 for deceive.
Or you're already at success with style. That is 3.
All right, I don't even need to hit the folklore as a means of control.
If you want to inflict a consequence on him, yes, you do. So
Okay,
if you want
cool.
a permanent, lasting effect on him, due to this,
let's do it.
Spend a fate point, invoke the world aspect.
Invoke folklore as a means of control to give him the consequence, petrified of
Zenobia.
betraying Zenobia at all. Yeah,
absolutely. He has a consequence called petrified of Zenobia, and that is intended to keep him quiet. Well spotted, because I had my eyes on there are traitors everywhere.
I know you did, Alan.
So that flashback out the way. He's heading in a camel in a different direction. You are approaching the pit of pain. Lars, you are taking point on this one. Do you have a name for the guy who runs the kind of prisoner admissions? Or the woman even, or the other person?
I think there are a lot of them, but because it's not just one person. This one is, I think, also a Dragonfolk guy, so his name is Ole.
Fine.
Or no, Niels. Niels.
Niels.
Niels.
And Niels sees you coming. Let's see how this deceive goes, because the pitch here, to just lay the pitch out for me, Lars.
Yeah, the pitch is basically that I have this fierce bounty hunter here, and I'm going to Vicky, has captured this runaway person from a master, and we also, this red folk doesn't have a license to be radioactive. We need to get them into the pit.
Vicky?
If I just may add something visual to the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Vicky on Biting Wind, with the princess parked in front of her. In the classic way you'd carry a prisoner to prevent them from getting away. And then I have Thorian. Then I have a rope tied to the saddle. that's looped around Thorian's Thorian's midsection or neck or whatever is the most appropriate thing.
Whichever bit of him is most solid.
Yeah, and I give a unnecessary jerk to the rope as I come in, to just enough to pull him a little bit. To do that as Lars begins to make his spiel.
And I just want to know from the princess, how are you helping sell this?
I'm looking very put out and surly.
Feel free to struggle.
Let's have you create an advantage with deceive then.
Oh, nice. I think it's not so much struggling, because it's much more like channeling, like being a child who's been caught out and like dragged back, after trespassing or whatever, right?
You know who I am. Go for it.
Let me speak to the manager.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, your hands are tied in a with a knot that I've shown you how to slip.
I'm sorry, I need to open door for just a moment.
Let's proceed with deceive. We'll come back to whether Zenobia selling it is a necessary addition, Lars. So let's have you deceive Niels. Niels, I think this is a bit unusual, because normally, hello, Master Lars. Master Lars, what are you? How did you end up here? So I think it's slightly unusual. I think the difficulty is going to be 2.
Yes, okay, that's fine. Maybe we'll see. Yes, I've made it. I've level 3. It's barely, but yeah, he believes me.
So that's success.
Yeah.
We'll proceed with success without pitching at style. And he says, well, okay, I'll sign him in the book. Sorry, that's offensive. I apologize to my Scandinavian friends. And he scribes it into the book as Princess Zenobia and the Rad-folk Thorian, and says to Vicky, put them in the cage.
Niels, I need to take them in myself. I poke Thorian slightly. That was not wise, probably, because it's radioactive, but
You poke him and then you go.
This one needs to go to the necroids. We need to study. I think there are some very interesting effects that will have, and I need to study that.
Oh, you'll have to talk to Petal about that.
I will talk to Petal about that. Thank you, Niels.
And remember that you have to talk to Master Grond about getting the bounty paid to her.
Sure.
Niels, he looks up at Vicky and says, if you're going to leave that thing here, I want it tied up over there.
I'm not leaving it here. I'm taking it with me.
You can't put that in the cage.
It'll behave.
I think you're going to need to convince him that thing will fit in this cage with the prisoners and not bring the whole damn thing down.
Oh, you mean the lift going down?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is that. It does weigh
so which of the various social skills is this? Is this provoke? Is this rapport? What are you pitching at here, Vicky?
I don't know. Just
well, look, I tell you what. While you're thinking about it, because Alexei has come back through the door. Alexei, we've got you across the threshold without you having to sell it.
Okay.
But some kind of help to convince this guy to let the Zhevra ride the lift is necessary. So how, let's have you roll the create advantage to sell it.
I got an idea. Just side note, I had to run and grab these because they've just been delivered and I didn't want them getting rained on. I've got printed copies of Back Again from the Broken Land. So Anybody who backed that Kickstarter, you should be getting yours in soon.
And if they didn't back the Kickstarter, but they think they might want a copy, Alexi?
There is still a pre-order form that is open, and you can find out more by checking out Cloven Pine Games on all social media.
Thank you for that that message from our sponsors.
Okay, so I think to sell this deception, I have to seem like I am. I have to seem like the Zhevra being around is, you know, keeping us prisoners in line, right? So I have to kind of perk up when the prison person is saying the Zhevra has to go, and I'm like, you know, yeah, there's no way it could fit on that. You're gonna have to leave your little pet behind, bounty hunter.
Let's have you roll to deceive.
Roll
to create
deceive.
To create the advantage that you've described.
All right. The dice say 1. My deceive says +3, so 4 total.
That is success. You have created the aspect that you wanted with a free invoke.
Okay, and the aspect is something like, you know, seems like, just the illusion that the beast is keeping the prisoners in line.
Yes. So, Vicky, with that in mind, is this good cop or bad cop? Rapport or provoke to intimidate Niels?
Between those choices, I'll take provoke.
Yes, I think that fits. So let's have you roll.
And I'm just giving him the cold dead eye of don't fuck with me. You know, not. It's like I've killed worse people than you.
Difficulty is 2.
Okay.
-1, 0 in the skill, so that's, you are currently at -3. Vicky, do you want to use up the free invoke the princess gave you?
I do.
That gets you to -1. Do you have
and-
any other thoughts?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I have. I'll spend a fate point to invoke Zhevra Rider. I think is the most appropriate here.
Watchful Mutawarrior Zhevra Rider.
I mean, this is. I sit this beast as if the two of us were a single entity, and it's like you're expecting me to get down off of this thing. I say coldly.
And I think that combined with Zenobia implying that she might be able to make a run for it without the Zhevra, he says, okay, but you have to go down, you'll have to go down separately. And so he's going to put a couple of just guards into the elevator with Lars, Zenobia, and Thorian, and then you will go down after Vicky. But then let's cut to the bottom of this cavern, where it's surprisingly cool down here, given how hot it is up there. But you've gone down a very long way, and very little light filters down, so it's torch lit. Or Lars, how is it lit down here? Is this where your grandmother's control of elemental fire might play a part in terms of lighting?
Yes, the lighting is actually pretty dim because it's, for most prisoners, it's uncomfortable if the lighting is too low, right? But it can be turned up. These are lamps, and you can turn them up to, I don't know, 11, and then it will be very uncomfortable for almost everybody, including the guards. They heat the place a little because my grandmother doesn't like the cold either.
And your next port of call ought to be Paymaster Grond to get the bounties paid. But the alternative is that you just skip straight towards the Necroid wing, Lars. What's your thinking?
I assume that Vicky does not want to get the bounty paid for Princess Zenobia. I hope at least that that's the case.
Well, I need to, I need to see them locked up.
You need to
So,
see.
yeah.
Sorry.
Stuff
what?
from the paymaster is not.
okay. So you're down here. One of the guards has come down with you, Lars, and says to Sven, the guy in charge of the bottom of the lift, says that that Niels says that that this one, and he gestures to Thorian, needs to go in the Necroid wing.
Yep.
And I think that Sven looks at you, Zenobia, and says, "Can you pay for a suite?"
Please. What could a suite at this place possibly cost that I couldn't pay?
Well, if you come this way, your princessness, then I'll sort you out the best room in the place. And what Sven is offering is to take you in a different direction, because clearly you don't believe in the Necroid wing. You don't belong there.
This is an interesting point.
Idea. If we want to stay together, I might approach Sven and say, Sven, okay. And I whisper, like conspirationally, right? Like, Sven, let her, I want her around a little. I mean, she's okay, she's human, but still she's got, I mean,
Kind of hot.
Yeah, she's kind of hot, and I don't get to see so many hot princesses. So if I take her for a detour, I wouldn't. You would. I don't. My grandmother wouldn't mind, right?
Well, all right then, Master Lars. If you put it that way, I'm not going to make you roll for that. I think it's too cool. And Lars and the two guards here, young Lars. Oh, he's grown up a lot, hasn't he? And so they gesture off towards the Necroid wing. Thorian, would you roll notice, please?
Yeah.
Difficulties only 2, I think.
Okie dokie. That is a 2.
So on a tie.
Oh no, I mean it's 4 minus 2. Oh, so a tie with, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, yes, I'm going to give you this at a minor cost.
Okay.
You can sense another Radfolk down here. But the minor cost is that it's in a different direction from the Necroid wing. And their life force is frittering away. Because it looks like not all of the batteries have run all the way down yet. I will offer you a compel on your Radfolkness.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to take it because there's no way he would leave anyone behind.
Only empathy can beat entropy.
Exactly, yeah.
So
all of them.
most of them. I'm only going to compel the one. So you get one fate point. And this is that you need to get to that Radfolk. And it's not in the direction you are currently being led by Lars.
But Lars is the only one with us at the moment.
The guards stay back at the lift. Lars knows where he's going. There's a bounty hunter to watch Zenobia and you. And anyway, where are you going to run?
I am. I'm going to lean to Lars and say, they are alive. Still.
They were. Oh, there must be one left with the artifacts. Of course, didn't even think of that. I'm such an idiot.
Tell me.
Yeah.
And tell me where they are.
Yes.
I will join you. You must find the hammer. You must get them into the Necroid wing. I must save my folk.
I want to help you.
We must help others as well, Lars. If we do not make it, then free my people.
I will try my best.
Lars, let me offer you a compel.
Yes.
I owe Thorian because I inadvertently led his people to their doom.
Yeah.
Apart from the survivor.
Mm-hmm.
You could point Vicky and Zenobia in the right direction and go with your friend.
Yeah, but they wouldn't get in.
They might have to find a different way in.
That's their problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
That remains to be seen.
I mean, they have the zebra, right? And Vicky seems like yes. Okay. So
I say
Well, no, hang on. I want to leave this with Lars. You can say your piece in a bit. Lars, what's your thinking on the compel?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I have to, right? Basically, have to accept that.
Okay, now have the conversation.
What's the matter?
I can't. I need to go with him. I have to help him. They are trapped in a machine, and the red folk could get out of the machine just by radiating at it.
Vicky holds up a hand and says, "Do what you need to do."
Yeah, you need to go over there, and I explain the way to you, basically where you need to go, and let be careful with Petal. You could tell her I sent you, right? My grandmother, Ingvi Goldclaw, she's the high warden of this place. You can tell Petal that I sent you, and I will give you some token that says, yes, this is me. So if you need that, right? I think what I'm going to do here is maybe I will give +1 to resources actually and roll with that to give you an aspect like token of office or something like
token
that.
of passage.
I think that's clever. Yeah. Roll with resources.
Mhm.
I think in the circumstances, I'm going to make it difficulty 2 because I think the question is whether anybody down here knows that you're persona non grata yet.
I've rolled a 3 + 3, so it's a 4. So
fine. So Vicky,
you have this aspect now.
Yeah. So Vicky, you have a free invoke on the aspect token of passage. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm inclined now. I don't know how you feel about this. I think the risk at the moment is that if we go on for another 20 minutes, I'm not sure I'm going to get in and out of here. So I'm inclined to say, as Thorian and Lars disappear down this gloomy passageway this way, and Vicky and Zenobia go in down this gloomy passageway that way, that we pause this episode until next time. Because I don't think I can get both of these things resolved before we're at time.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it'd be great to have like just a very short conversation.
Oh, by all means, have a
Then
conversation.
we can have a pause.
Yeah.
You doing all right?
I'm fine, but this wasn't the plan. I don't know.
This is you can call it anytime.
These people seemed like they were on our side,
Ooh.
worth working with, but it's hard to know if they're, well, trustworthy, and even if they are on the up and up, are they reliable?
I guess we'll find out.
I'm going to
But,
offer you a compel, Zenobia.
Hmm,
I'm going to compel. There are traitors everywhere.
yeah.
With the decision you need to make, I think you will follow them because you don't trust them yet. Do you want to
Yes,
take it or buy it off?
Yeah, I'm looking back and forth, between the passageway headed towards headed towards answers about this hammer, this tantalizing solution to the powers of the masters, versus keeping a closer eye on these newfound alleged allies that have proven flaky.
The choice is yours, Zenobia.
Let me take the fate point. Let's find out what they're really up to. The Aquatar will keep. That's what prisons are for, right?
Love it. Love it.
I now
Oh, no, don't love it.
I'm going to check Zenobia on this. And if necessary, so this may be, and I'm basically going to say, we came into this dangerous place for a very important reason. And if they turn out to be untrustworthy, they won't be different than a lot of other people we know. I know you want to go after them and find out who they are. But I don't think you can do both of those things. Isn't it more important to try and stop your father? Isn't that
Telling me what?
Isn't that the whole reason? No, I'm asking you a question. Isn't that the whole reason?
The whole reason
That
to be on the run.
Yes.
She narrows her eyes.
You know that I love you and I will support you with no matter what you want to do. But I have to say, I don't think that's a good idea.
Boils down to Z. Do you want to? You've taken my fate point. You can drop that 5 fate points down to 3 and carry on towards the quarter. The choice is yours. I'm not going to resolve this as some kind of rapport roll between you because the agency is yours, the player.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I am a 19-year-old rebellious princess. So I have to disregard the wisdom of my minder here and say, you're free to go after the squid. I'm going to discover what these alleged friends of ours are really up to.
I'm going to close it there because I don't want to know what happens next until next time.
Okay.
So we roll credits at that point. Lars and Thorian have headed off in one direction. Zenobia has just said that. Vicky turns as if to say something. That's our cliffhanger. Thank you for that. I'd like to do a quick stars and wishes. I'm not really interested in system stars and wishes at this point. I think we'll do that more formally. But let me go from left to right. Let's start with wishes. I'm going to try and adopt Rich Rogers's practice of doing wishes first, just in case we're out of time. So, Will, any wishes for next time?
Wishes to save people. And to be to find our and to articulate our common ground a bit better than we've been thrown together. I'd like to have the like the bit where we decide to become heroes kind of thing. Like if we don't explicitly say it, but to be like, well, can't we make Umdaar better? Can't we free Felix from the masters?
I think that's a cool wish. Moving along, Sabine, any wishes?
I mean, I wish weren't late next week. I won't be. I will try not to be. And other wishes, yeah, I'd like to have a bit more free conversation scenes, maybe once in a while. And also, I would really adore it if I could meet my grandma. I mean, she seems like a nice lady, right?
Meet Granny Ingvi.
If that comes up, it doesn't.
Well,
do everything.
Compel, you are the granddaughter of, surely.
I'm the grandson of.
Oh, grandson of, I beg your pardon. Beg your pardon.
Otherwise, that's fine.
Brandon, any wishes?
Yeah, wishes to get caught up in the. I think one thing that defines this kind of fiction for me is not only high adventure and heroism, but also often getting involved in political tangles, right? The struggles between different people and having to pick a side, even when the people involved may be very flawed. So those sorts of that kind of difficult decision is something I'd like.
Fine. Alexi.
Yeah, big wish to reach a point of greater trust amongst this party. I think we did a good job playing out the sort of allies of convenience nature of how we've ended up together. But since we are playing a whole series with these characters, I want to get to a place where we're a party that largely trusts each other. And I know I've in some ways fought against that by taking that last fate point and compel, but I think that will be in service of reaching a turning point.
Yeah, I mean, the wish I have in my mind is that we get to a place where Zenobia needs either Lars and or Thorian to save her, because Vicky's busy doing something else. Right. So I think that's what that would seem to me to be the kind of circumstance.
Modify that wish a little.
Go on.
Wouldn't it be neater if Zenobia had to this decision to save Thorian and Lars?
Oh,
could go back and forth.
Yeah.
Could take turns.
Yeah. That fine. So that's what I'm imagining. Yeah. Right. Let's go back round for any stars. Will?
Yeah, I really, I'm enjoying playing Fate again. I have, I should maybe put this in wishes, but I'd be interested in knowing how defense works, because I have a bunch of stuff that keys off defense, and in your version of Fate, it seems as though I'm not sure I grok quite how when defense will come up that often.
Fair enough.
But stars, I think it's been fun getting back into it, making aspects, the sort of wonderfully bizarre composition of our party, and I think that everyone's playing their characters really well. Each of the sort of niches of this motley crew, and this crazy world that we're living in, which I love entirely, because it's just you can come up with anything and throw it in there. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, we now know rocket boots exist. What the heck? Sabine, any stars?
Yeah, I'll echo the star that Will just gave. I thought these really, some of these creatures that we're portraying really lend themselves to being very silly and gonzo even, but this was not bad. So I'm very happy with this. So thanks to all of you for despite the fact that you're a radioactive dude and a mutagenic warrior or something, you are very serious and very very profound characters, and I love that. And of course, Zenobia is a human. I love having a human in a group of otherwise weird folks. So stars also to that, and to the picture of the, how do you pronounce it, even Zhevra?
Zhevra will do, or Zhevra if you prefer.
Zhevra, okay. The blinding, biting. Sorry, the Bitsy, yes. I like that. That was fun, and and also I love the fact that Zenobia doesn't trust us. And I mean, like Thorian and Lars know each other that well. But that was also I also love the ponderousness of Thorian declaiming his heroic thoughts. I feel that is very inspiring, at least to Lars.
I like that. Brandon, any stars?
I love these characters, and I so look forward to seeing them, cohere in whatever way that's going to happen. Yeah, no, I like Zenobia deciding to do the foolish thing there at the end. I like Lars's timidity in trying to to have us all do this extremely dangerous and dubious thing. And Thorian's concern for his old people and the whole Rad-folk setup. It's it's very sad and full of wonderful gravity for the genre.
Alexi, any stars?
Absolutely. It's been great. Big star to Lars and Thorian for like the amount of story that came out of figuring out your relationship aspects, because that creates this super cool dynamic about kind of guilt and redemption that exists between the characters, and also a big like element in the world that we're dealing with fallout from still. And I also want to give you a star, Alan, for pointing us right back at the pit of pain. Wouldn't have done to introduce the idea of the pit of pain and then not have to go into that place. So I'm pleased we'll start off here next time and get to explore this, and presumably keep doing a mix of fighting and lying and hopefully having each other's backs eventually.
Exactly.
Well, especially since it was a giveaway because the name of this episode was Princess Zenobia and the Pit of Pain.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Just like so, the people who are paying attention knew where this was going.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't think you were going to go that way originally, but it became self-evident once. Thank you, Sabine. Star to you for really, painting a picture of the Pit of Pain and Granny Ingvi. And the fact that there could be another Rad-folk down there was all worth its weight in gold. Thank you, Alexi the Star, for spotting the guy getting out through the rear door and taking every compel I threw your way. And Brandon, a star to you for introducing an enormous, dangerous zebra. That goes entirely with genre. So no, I had a lot of fun. Thank you for that. I will ask before I turn the recording off if it's okay for me to publish this to YouTube and share the link. Thank you very much. Then I will stop the recording now.